As with many of the Fallout 4 and Skyrim DLCs, prior to the DLC's release, we get a patch kind of saying it's a compatibility patch for future content. On PC, at least in the past, and fortunately in the present, people have been able to work back into these and find out what kind of content was added by them, giving us a sneak peek into the DLC to come. Well, someone's done just that with the Nuka World patch, and we have some new information regarding that. This is all coming from a Reddit post, so none of this information was mined by me, and you can find a link to all the raw data down below. So what actually was found through all this? Basically, we got a few different settlement keywords and some of the different map markers. At first glance, you may be like, hey, that doesn't sound that feature rich, but they're actually kind of revealing if you look a little bit closer. So first and foremost, let's run through the different map markers we did get. We got Wild West, Safari, a rides marker, a point of interest marker, a pack marker, a operation marker, a monorail marker, Kitty Kingdom, Hub, Galactica, Disciples marker, and finally the bottling plant. So let's actually organize these. It definitely seems like Nuka World as a theme park, we don't actually know if that's the name, but that is the running speculation, will contain obviously the Safari, some of the different rides markers. These will probably be for multiple rides in the park, at least we hope it'll be for multiple rides in the park. They'll just be scattered around maybe, so they'll have a marker there but won't actually have maybe a name for that area. The monorail marker will probably be in the park as well. It'll probably maybe be a monorail taking you around the park, hopefully, at least hopefully it works that way. Then you do have the Kitty Kingdom, obviously would be inside the park. The hub is probably the entry point where you walk in. Galactic is probably that big mountain we saw when you actually have the Nuka World trailer, and I actually think that is it. So what does this tell us about the DLC? Truth be told, I think it's very pivotal on a decision that Bethesda had to have made. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of this DLC content going on inside of a theme park. That's a cool environment and really just a cool setting. I'm excited to experience that. Hopefully, it's a larger scale Diamond City type deal, so you'll have a lot of stuff, but also a lot of things to do and a very lively place. Because right now, I feel like Fallout 4 is lacking that. We don't have a place where tons of people congregate and you can kind of just see people outside of Diamond City. Now, what do I mean by the decision by Bethesda? Well, how much of this can we do on our own? Obviously, this is hinting that there'll be roller coasters with the rides markers, and it definitely seems like we'll have a safari, so that will mean some kind of animals being contained in an open area, I assume. I mean, if you typically go on a safari, you sit in a vehicle and you travel through an area and there'll be animals running around that way. A zoo would be more like they're just in cages. So this begs the question, can we as players in our own settlements make zoos and or roller coasters? Obviously that would be awesome. Roller coasters I could see possible mainly because in one of the past contraption DLCs, or not contraptions, in one of the past workshop DLCs, maybe it was contraptions, we did get those the conveyor belts that curve and everything, which I could see that laying the framework for something like a roller coaster. Again, this is 100% speculation. I have no idea what's going to come and what's not going to come. But that's what I take out of it, and that's what I hope from it. I would love if a lot of the cool stuff we see isn't just like a one-time thing we experience. I hope it's something that we can later recreate on our own. So this actually left out a few of the other icons we got there, so I'll talk about them now. One is the Wild West. The Wild West might be a section in the park. It might just be a Wild West themed section. The only reason I hesitate to say it is because it does have kind of, they look like basically those little oil towers. And I don't know, that seems like a weird way to portray the Wild West inside of an amusement park. I feel like that might be something outside of the amusement park, but again, I might 100% be wrong by that, so who knows. And then finally, the bottling plant. This also might be something inside of the park. It just, a bottling plant seems like a place where you make bottles like Nuka-Cola. So the Nuka World DLC having a massive Nuka-Cola bottling plant as a separate location seems pretty probable. So I imagine that's what that's going to be. I could be wrong again there, but again, I guess we'll see in a few days. So that actually leaves us with 4 little map markers left. The point of interest marker and then the 3 kind of faction markers. So the point of interest marker, I don't know, that's too vague. It's going to be a point of interest. Something that's interesting is like that little Nuka World bottle cap with a smiley face. So I really have no idea what that's going to be used for. Probably, maybe, I doubt a quest marker because that wouldn't make sense, but I don't know, something along those lines, the same concept as a quest marker, I would guess. But now with these next 3 is where things start to get a little bit interesting and where we could really unravel more about Nuka World. So we do have a pack marker, we do have the Disciples marker, and finally the operator's marker. So also in this leak, we got some of the different keywords from the game. So basically what that means is, like, if I'm playing the game right now, a keyword would be Brotherhood of Steel, and then you have different Brotherhood of Steel items, or a keyword would be the Minutemen, and then you have different Minutemen items. So some of the different keywords we did get are disciples, flags, miscellaneous, operators, the pack, resource, and dealers. And all of these are new subcategories under Raider. So basically what it seems is there's going to be 3 different factions of Raiders in this: the disciples, the operators, and the pack. But what are you going to do for those 3 different factions? Well, that's actually the next part of the leak. This is, in my opinion, the most interesting part, but here we go. So we got 3 new settlement map markers. So this is basically map markers to go on or in your settlement. First up, we got the vassal settlement marker, then we have the raider settlement marker, and finally we have the potential vassal settlement marker. So what does this mean? Well, I'm not entirely sure. I've thought of a couple different scenarios on how this could work, and we'll explore those now. First and foremost, it seems like when you get into Nuka World, you're going to have to pick a side. So you'll have these 3 different factions of raiders, and you're going to have to side with one of them, do quests for one of them, and then maybe you'll kill or try and hurt the other 2. Obviously, this seems like it's going to be pretty settlement focused. There's going to be some emphasis on these new raider and vassal settlements. So how do they come into play? Well, it seems like, I'm totally speculating here, but maybe the way this will work is a raider settlement will be maybe an enemy settlement, and a vassal settlement is a new type of settlement that you can capture with your new raider allies. So maybe rather than settlers kind of working with you as it does prior, even though that's probably not that true, now you could have these settlers do more slave tasks, and maybe it's a better way to make caps or something like that. And the raider settlement marker identifies enemy settlements. So some of those other packs are raiders and they have control of these other ones. And maybe you can battle over these. You want them to become your vassals while the other raiders hold control of them. That's one potential idea. Another one is just these are 2 different types of settlements. So a raider settlement means it's my settlement, but it's controlled by raiders. So maybe that gives you different options, different ways to make money. Because then if we go back, you do have the dealers part, which dealers was a vendor type deal. So maybe that's just the name for vendors in the raider settlement. There'll be dealers, etc., etc. And then a vassal settlement maybe is just you have to go to a traditional settlement with your new raider allies, capture it, and now it's a vassal settlement where everyone's slaves. Because then comes into play the potential vassal settlement marker, and I don't fully get how that works. I don't know if this is going to be isolated to Nuka World, which I really hope not, because that would kind of take a little bit of the fun out of it. Because how are you going to mark something as a potential vassal settlement? Like, wouldn't all settlements be potential vassal settlements? I guess not, though. I don't know. This is just some of my speculation, though, but that's pretty much everything we got from this. If you want to call it a leak, it's not really a leak. We should be seeing a full trailer from the game in the next few days, so hopefully we'll see that. But this is actually making me quite a bit more excited for this DLC than I was prior. Sounds like a lot of cool stuff's going to be going on with this, so I'm excited to play it. Hopefully you guys are too. As always, I thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you speculate based on this information? In the description, again, you'll have a link to all this in case you were wondering or wanted to give it a good read over yourself. But yeah, that's pretty much it again. So I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.